No, we're reading from Monster by Walter Dean Myers, and really great novel, or really great book because it's written in novel form, movie form, screenplay form, and journal form. Excellent, excellent book. Because when you read a lot and you write, you start just wanting to play with forms because you reach a certain level that let's just make it different. Let's play with the forms. And I think writing in screenplay form is going to be the way we're going to do things because we're becoming a more visual society. Even more books are written to be made into film. So I think this book was genius. Mr. Evans, who participated in the robbery, will testify that there was a struggle, which resulted in the gun being discharged and Mr. Nesbitt being killed. Mr. Nesbitt had every right to defend his property, every right to be robbed. We all have that right. Further, or every right not to be robbed. I'm sorry. We all have that right. Further, there will be evidence that prior to the robbery there was a plan or conspiracy to rob the store. Mr. Evans and Mr. King were to enter the store and do the actual robbing. Another of the planners of this crime was to stand outside the drugstore and impede anyone chasing the robbers. The young man who had this assignment will testify to his role in the affair. Yet another of the conspirators, the planners of this robbery that left a man dead, was to go into the store prior to the robbery to check it out, to make sure that there were no police in the store, to make sure that the coast was clear, as they say. Two of the conspirators will testify to their understanding of this fact. The man who was to enter the store and check it out is sitting at the other table. His name is Stephen Harmon. Cut to Stephen, then CU of the pad in front of him. He is writing the word monster over and over again. A white hand, O'Brien's, takes a pencil from his hand and crosses out all the monsters. O'Brien whispered, "You have to believe in yourself if you're going to convince a jury that you're innocent." Cut to MS of Petrocelli. Petrocelli, usually when I write in script form, I don't put all the camera. Most is mid-shot, close-ups, and all that. But this is good. It's very detailed. Petrocelli, a medical examiner, will testify to the cause of death, showing that the gunshot wound was fatal, even though it was Mr. Nesbitt's gun. It was not Mr. Nesbitt who caused his own death. This was no suicide. This death was a direct result of the robbery. Very simply put, this is a case of murder. It is moreover a murder committed during a felonious act. The two defendants who you see before you will be shown to be participants in that act and are being charged with felony murder. Later, the judge will give you instructions on how to consider the evidence presented. But there is no doubt in my mind, and I believe by the end of the trial, there will be little doubt in yours that these two men, James King and Stephen Harmon, were all part of the robbery that caused the death of Aguinaldo Nesbitt. Thank you. Cut to LS of courtroom. O'Brien is at attorney's podium. Cut to Steve's mother on wooden bench in the gallery area, listening intently. Her face looks worried. O'Brien. The state correctly says that the laws of society provide protection for its citizens when a crime is committed. It is the state that must apply the law in a manner that offers redress and that brings the guilty parties to justice. But the laws also protect the accused, and that is the wonder and beauty of the American system of justice. We don't drag people out of their beds in the middle of the night and lynch them. We don't torture people. We don't beat them. We apply the law equally to both sides. The law then protects society, protects all of society. In this case, we will show that the evidence that the state will produce is seriously flawed. We will show not only that there is room for reasonable doubt, and you will hear more about that idea at the end of this trial, but that the doubt that Steve Harmon has committed any crime at all, is overwhelming. As Mr. Harmon's attorney, all I ask of you, the jury, is that you look at Steve Harmon now and remember that at this moment, the American system of justice demands that you consider him innocent. He is innocent until proven guilty. If you consider him innocent now, and by law you must, if you have not prejudged him, then I don't believe we will have a problem convincing you that nothing the state will produce will challenge that innocence. Thank you. Cut to Briggs. So this is a script form. It's going to turn back into journal form at some point, but a lot of it is in script form, and it's really, really good book, and it's really accessible to all ages. And the prison system, as a black man, it's a horrifying place, and I've never been in it or around it. Um, I have friends who have been there, and I tried at all costs to stay away from it. But as a black man, it limits you. For example, I'll give an example. I never learned to drive because I never wanted to be pulled over. I never wanted that kind of contact. Because when I was growing up, they would pull you over, drop drugs in your car, or arrest you. Or we see now that they could pull you over and kill you. So I never learned to drive. So there's no one that could ever say I drove anything for any reason. I don't have any tickets. I don't have any of it. So it limits you in this society as a black man when you want to start staying away from the prison system. And it's a terrible thing, but as a black man, you have to fight back some kind of way. And my community has been very, up until this year, just defunct in doing anything about it. So a lot of us were on our own. And so, we make these kinds of decisions. I never had children because I never wanted them to be in a community that was unfunctional. I just didn't want to do that because it really does take a village. So these are just some of the examples of what you go through as a black man, and with that court system hovering over you. And that's it. I appreciate your support. I ask you to take care of your mind, take care of your body, and be safe.